Hello, Dental A Team listeners. I am so excited to be here today. I am always excited to be here today, you guys. I love podcasting. I really, really do. And I love podcasting with other people more than solo. And I get to pull consultants in, and Britt from HR, headquarters over there, HQ, and Eve from marketing. Like, I get to pull in just the most fun people from our team to just double up and get some time with. Kristy, I've got you today, and this is like our special time together. And I just love it. So, and Kristy, I put you specifically at the end of my podcasting day. I hope you noticed that, not just because of timing, but because you bring a sense of calm to my life. And podcasting with you, not to say that it's not easy with anyone else on our team, but you really it's just so easy. You bring a sense of calm and ease. And I was like, that's what I want to end my day with. So thank you for opening up your schedule to me and for being here today, Kristy. How are you?
Good. Absolutely. I love it too. I mean, we were just talking the other day because we don't get much time together. And so I know we look forward to this time. And now that I know you put me at the end of the day on purpose, I love it. I love it.
Surprise.
I love it. Yeah, it's a good way to end the day.
Good. Well, I'm glad. I know Mondays are busy for you. Our team we do meeting Mondays. And so it gets a little jam packed, but it's nice because I feel like we get all of that admin stuff out of the way and we get aligned on actions we need to take for the week, kind of all together on the same day. And then we just spearhead our week ready to go.
Yeah.
Well, Kristy, today is exciting. I'm going to actually pull in what we were just talking about. So you guys know, avid listeners, you guys have been here. We've been doing this podcast for a really long time, you guys. And if you have ideas on things that you want to hear, please send them in, because our little brains over here are just thinking of all of these things. Sometimes they feel like, did we just record this? Because it's like this content sounds so similar to something else we've talked about. And so I don't know how they'll label this one, but I want you guys to know we are going to chat today a little bit about job descriptions. And this is something that we find incredibly important. So we talk about it a lot. So I want to drive that home. They are so important. And Kristy, something that I recently recorded a podcast with Brittany, and something we talked about, part of that leadership skill, was being able to give direction to the team to execute decisions. And as a leader, being able to execute decisions, being decisive, and having execution as leadership, but also gifting that to the team. And we talked about the vision of the practice, kind of where the company's going, and the leader, the owner, being able to utilize that for the culture of the company. But I kind of think right now, these job descriptions are the vision per position, right? It gives us our heading so that within my position in the practice or the organization, I can say yes, no, maybe, yes, this is the right decision right now for the company. And it brings about some clarity for everyone. Kristy, what do you think?
Yeah. I love that you mentioned that because for so long, I think we've all understood that job descriptions should have duties, right?
Mm-hmm.
I truly am a fan of duties versus titles, but also I think honing in on the other aspect of, I think the duties, let me step back. The duties tell us what we're responsible
Mm-hmm.
for, but I think bringing in the other aspect tells us how the person should
Mm-hmm.
behave. And so I think they go hand in hand. And I think oftentimes we miss that other piece of it. And then we get frustrated when we don't hire that person.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And in a layer on top of that, you mentioned job duties and kind of how to behave, but even within that what piece, the job duties, the clarification on the job duties, if I know that my job, my goal of my position is to have the schedule full. Maybe I'm a schedule coordinator, and my number one metric is 90% full on hygiene for the next 5 days, 80% full doctor, like whatever that metric is. If I know that's my metric, then I think, oh my gosh, this one patient, my how to says confirmations. And Step one is text message, email, text message, email. But I know this person is 85 years old and they're not getting these text messages. I don't have to question, do I call this patient? My job, my goal is to get that patient here for that appointment, no matter what that means looks like. So I think that vision and that very clear cut, this is what the metric is of your position. I, sitting in that scheduling coordinator position, can say, Julie, at 85, I'm just going to call her. I'm not going to mess with the text messages and wait until 3 days before if I know she needs a call and we need to confirm her ride. Like, I have this information, but we often get asked, Kristy, I think by different team members, that they're like, well, can I do this? I'm like, well, does it get you to your goal? Is it a part of what gets the practice to our goals? Heck yeah, I think that's a great idea. It gives you the space to be creative, to get to the results that you need to get to, that are set as parameters because you know what you're driving towards.
Yeah, you said that so well. So again, I'm with you. It's not just the duties and how we behave and perform them, but like you said, then we can tie it to what metrics am I responsible for? And one other piece behind that is painting the clarity. If it's 90% reappointment rate, or whatever metric am responsible for, now what system comes behind that metric if it's not where I want it to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then I can pull up the system and say, hey, am I not working the system properly, or do I need to find a new system because our system's not working any longer to get the result we want?
For sure. And that's where teams come to us, or office managers, and they're like, oh, my team has no accountability. How do I hold them accountable? Or how do I get my team to hold themselves accountable? How do I get them to own their jobs? It's really hard to own something if you don't have complete clarity around that goal that you're working towards. And so having those SMART goals with those metrics tied to them, Kristy, like you just said, allows that person then, like you've said, to work backwards from the result to see, what did I do that got the result? Because anything you do, I literally just said it this morning, I say it all the time, even consistently being inconsistent is going to get you a result. Consistently doing anything will get you the result. And if your consistency lies in inconsistently, I'm always inconsistent, you're going to get a result. So knowing what your target result is in comparison to the result that you got allows you to backtrack and say, was I inconsistent in my utilization of my systems? Or is the system just flawed and I need to reinvent that wheel? Totally fine too, but it allows the space for that. And Kristy, the way you said it was, it allows the person holding that metric to see it themselves and key into it, which takes training and it takes consistency from leadership to constantly point back to the metrics, to constantly be like, okay, what is your metric, your standard, and then what did you reach? And when there's questions that come up, like Kristy, like, do I call this lady? You're like, well, what is your metric? Does it get you there? And I think that consistency is that accountability piece that people are lacking.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just like you said, it's very easy once we've painted that clarity and we have understanding, also for the team to report back to you. You shouldn't have to ask. But I also would say, don't just report back, like report back and let them know your trend, because
Yeah.
maybe it is 90% reappointment rate that we're looking at. Literally, I was just on with an office that was, it's almost embarrassing to say they hadn't looked at their rates for reappointment. And she's like, 50 some percent. And I'm like, yeah, that could be a problem, right? Yet, let's not focus on 50. Let's talk that the goal's 90, and let's start talking about your trend, right?
Yeah.
So even if I'm reporting it, talk about your trend. Where were you and where are we going? And then I also like to say with that, Tiff, is recognize what's working well and reinforce the good. What gets
Yeah.
reinforced gets repeated, right? And then get team talking about what they will do to overcome any opportunities if we're not at the mark we want.
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much. And you saying that about the practice, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's fantastic. Like 50%, that's not fantastic, but look at how much space there is to create something different. Like, that's really freaking cool, because practices come in and they're like, I don't know what to do, and I don't know why it's this way, and I just need this. And it's like, this is so cool, because there are spaces that are really, really simple to tackle that you just didn't uncover yet. And we get to come in and help uncover those. So it's like 50% reappointment rate. That's fantastic, because now we can implement 2 to 3 daily actions that severely change the projection in a company that you may have come to us thinking, and I don't know this client, I don't know what she or he was thinking, like, but they may have been thinking like, my hands are tied, what do I do? How do I get more patients? I need more new patients. I hear that all the time. And I'm like, well, what about the patients we have? It's so cool. So you just got me really excited about that, because I'm like,
Yeah.
holy cow, I can't wait to hear these results. It's going to be
Yeah.
fantastic. But that's case in point. There's a couple of people that probably need that metric, right? A hygienist, hygiene team, and scheduling coordinators. Like, they need these metrics because now they understand what their purpose is in the company and how they can contribute to the overall goals. Many doctors, I think, Kristy, you and I both come across this. Many doctors are really afraid, or business owners in general, to talk goals. And I think the piece that gets missed is that goals drive the courage to push forward in life. Without a goal, without a drive, we're just complacent. And so not talking about them and not talking about how each position can contribute towards those goals, I think, is actually a disservice and holding people back.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tiff. I think a lot of times people get stuck because goals are related to, a lot of times in dentistry, monetary amounts, right? But, truly, it's no different than us at home. We have a
Yeah.
checkbook and we have a bank account, and we have we have standard bills that we have to pay. And it's not that we have to get nitty gritty on that stuff, but, we all have to understand there's a cost of doing business, unless we're a not-for-profit organization, And so again, I love how you and Kira talk about the metrics aren't to beat ourselves up, right? It's not a stick to beat ourselves up with. It truly is just a measure of how healthy we're getting our patients. And the minute that we really get transparent about the numbers and what they mean, and relate it to just like patient health and practice health. I mean, we always talk about getting our patients healthy. What about talking about a healthy practice too,
Yeah.
right? And we need to let team know, just because, I mean, we hear it every day as consultants. A practice could do $6 million, and I could have another practice that does $1 million, and the 6 million inevitably people might think is more healthy than a million, and truly that's not the case. So we need to educate our teams and let them know those numbers mean more, and truly it's a reflection of how healthy our patients are, and how healthy the practice is.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. And your individual metrics then add up to those results. So
Mhm.
those of you who are building out the job descriptions, like, yes, you need like a how-to. We need to know what those systems and protocols are. But separate from that, they need a heading. They need to know, how do I show up? It's like, what are our core values? How do I show up in this position? If we've got, I don't know, a check-in spot, right? We've got a patient coordinator who's at check-in, and her job description does not say you sit up straight, you smile, and you greet patients with eye contact as soon as they walk in. You can't complain when she's got her head down on the computer, or she's got her cell phone and patients are walking in and they're not being greeted. So get nitty gritty on those spaces, because that's easy to achieve, right? If she reads that or he reads that, it's like, oh, that's the expectation. That's how I'll show up. And then now that feeds into your reschedule rate, right? Patients are like, heck yeah, I'm coming back. I loved seeing Sonia up front. Like, it just all feeds into one another. So I think breaking that down into, what is this position accomplishing for my practice within the goals that we have set? So if this is my vision, why do I have this position? Why do I have a scheduling coordinator? Why do I have a dental assistant? And then some pieces, I think, that I promised Kristy we would talk about, some positions that you don't always think about, right? So like sterile tech. Come on, guys. There are so many sterile technicians running around that don't know what the heck they're supposed to be doing, because there's no job description for a sterile tech. And we just kind of run of the mill, let them figure it out. That's the dental way. So like sterile tech or Kristy, one I know is really big right now is virtual assistants, and I have a client who has an entire team of virtual assistants. And Kristy, how important is it for the metrics, the job description, just in the VA space? So for the VAs, but how important is it for the team to have that VA job description too and know what they can count on those people for?
Oh, 100%. The cool part with it too, Tiff, I mean, yeah, they need to know the expectations of what's being handled so they can hold them accountable just
Mm-hmm.
as any other team member, right? But also, I love, especially offices where we're looking to develop leadership, when you have in an OM or a practice administrator, if you have a virtual assistant, what a great opportunity for them to work with somebody to develop them, right?
Mm,
And you're literally paying them to be there and do a service, but yet your leadership team or developing leadership team can help um, them be accountable to the metrics, right?
yeah.
That the virtual assistant is there for.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I have a practice that was like, well, like, I know they're doing insurance verifications. I'm like, cool. Well, one, how far out are they supposed to be? Like, what's the volume of insurance verifications they're doing? Because we've got some shifts in the front office. Could they take on calling on unpaid insurance claims? And they were like, I don't know. I have no idea what their time is like, and I haven't talked to them in weeks. And I was like, oh, hold the phone. I gotta pick myself up off the floor real quick. Who's holding these people accountable? You've got to treat them just the same as you would if they were in your practice. And I think that's multifaceted. I have a practice who does really, really well with a couple, right, of each spectrum. But one in particular does really well with virtual assistants because they create them to be part of the team. The virtual assistants do so much as to even show up for daily huddle, right? They're there with them. We have virtual assistants that show up for daily huddle. We know our VAs, but practices that it's just like, oh, they're doing this thing and they think of them as a separate entity. I think the VAs get lost. I think the sterile techs get lost. The sterile techs of the world are just lost in our dental field. And they're looking for that direction and they're looking for that drive. And I think our VA, right? We've got a newly onboarded one as well, but our VA who just celebrated 6 months with us, I found out, he has incredible direction in his position. And I see that he finds fulfillment in the things that he does for our company. And that's really cool to watch and to see. I know we get fulfillment. It's very easy to get fulfillment as a consultant. Like we get to work hands on with the clients every day. Same as a dental practice, you guys get to see the changes you're making in the patients' mouths, right? And in their daily lives. So then to find metrics where it's like, no, even as a virtual assistant, even as an onboarded outsourced billing company, like these are the metrics that are going to show us that you're actually adding incredible value to our team.
Yeah.
And how cool is that to have that heading to be like, I get to go to work every day and I get to help this team do better for their community. And that's the piece that I just feel like is missing in a lot of different spaces.
Yeah, I love that you say that, Tiff, because a lot of, I mean, we're familiar, probably the most popular one is in the insurance realm, right? And so I know even a lot of the virtual companies will set up time to meet with the offices weekly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so again, for the OM or the practice administrator, I'm like, how often are you on those? Not very often. I'm like, man, what a missed opportunity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, to develop your leadership and share with them what's your expectations. We want
Yeah.
0 claims over 90 days. And again, the metrics aren't to beat ourselves up. If it's not there, how fun to celebrate when,
Mm-hmm.
just like the recare, right? When they hit 60%, we're going to be celebrating because one
It's
little
massive.
change, right? But painting that clarity, where are we
Mm-hmm.
going, what's my expectation, and then getting the team's commitment into how can we improve this, right? But I think you also mentioned something earlier, even outside of the virtual assistant realm, but all of our team members,
Mm-hmm.
how often are we meeting with them, and how often are we taking the time away from the business to grow and develop them?
Yeah,
right? And review
massive.
their metrics. Yeah.
Yeah, and how do you do that if you don't know what you're reviewing? Like, how do you do that if you don't know what their accountabilities are? And how do you help grow someone? I know one of the big pieces of leadership that we train on is being able to develop people and giving them a growth plan. And I remember being asked, oh my gosh, I don't even know. I was probably like 28. I don't know, 27. And my boss, my office manager, pulls me into the office for my one on one. And she's like, well, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I think my only, like, it'd be your position. Like, I don't know I don't know what that means, right? Because in those positions in the practice, they don't know. They don't know what's possible, right? Unless they've been there before. There may be somebody who's maybe worked in another practice and she managed, or worked in another practice and he saw this great manager he aspires to be. But most of the time, we don't know. And
Hmm.
so, providing that growth plan, even within the job description of these are the metrics, I get to help grow those. So, I can find growth and fulfillment within my own position because I'm growing the practice and growing these metrics. I don't need to take your job. I can be happy and satisfied in my own because it's written out for me, and we're talking about it in the one-on-ones. We're seeing how, where's my goal and how far away am I, just the same as we're seeing the trends and everything else. So Kristy, I totally agree. It would really, my 28-year-old brain would have been like, this is amazing if it had been like, here's some things that I see, and otherwise I'm like, I don't know, like, how do I answer that?
Yeah. Well, and to your point, Tiff, with that being said, don't forget to rope in your virtual assistants and have those conversations with them too. Because
Totally.
I think, like you mentioned earlier, the practices that we see truly utilizing virtual assistants well are incorporating them, right?
Yep.
They're sharing the expectation, but they're also giving them that feedback and they're treating them like a team member, you know? So
Yeah.
if you guys are doing a bonus system, don't forget your virtual assistants or your sterile techs, right? Include
Yeah.
them. They're a huge part of the practice. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And to your point, the team that I reference that does really well with the virtual assistants, the virtual assistant that now does a lot of their scheduling started as insurance verifications. And they grew her, and she learned the schedule. She listened to the team on calls. They groomed her into that position so that she could take it on because she wanted growth. So I agree. I agree. So gosh, Kristy, this one became really, really fun. Thank you
yeah.
for that and taking that journey. And you guys, I hope that there are some amazing tidbits that you're able to pick up from here. The biggest one is know your vision, know your goals. Like, where is your practice heading so that you can then dial in where is each position heading within those goals. That's going to be massive. So, job descriptions, yes, we can talk about job descriptions all the time. Go Google it on our page, like search it. You're going to find a million of them. The big point today is the metrics. Like, what are these jobs providing towards your goal? What's inspiring them to do their work every day? And how are you talking about it and communicating it with them? So, Kristy, thank you so much. I love taking these journeys. And you made this really fun. I appreciate you today and
Thank
always, every
you.
day.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Always. Back at you.
Thank you. Thank you. And you guys, Kristy's always here for like the fun, just expanding on what we're even talking about stuff. So look for her name on these podcasts. You will never be disappointed. You're always going to love them. And as always, leave us a 5-star review. We'd love to hear what you think. And we'd love to hear anything that you guys have in addition to what we talked about. We know we don't know it all. Hello at thedentalateam.com. You can reach us there. And we cannot wait to hear from you guys. Until next time.